Hello,
Hi.
welcome to week 4 of the Disney 100th anniversary. And
Thanks.
Thanks.
yeah,
Look at her. She's ready. She's dressed.
and now cartoons are ready to go to color. Huh. And just to let you know, I'm about to get a MacBook Pro on Friday.
No way.
Like-
Yeah, it's like a new computer thingy.
Yeah, MacBook Pro. I would need it for my job.
Okay.
Career. It's a very good tool for development.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, if you're gonna eat through the whole session, you might want to mute in between times because people can hear you eating.
Oh no, gross. Okay.
okay, so let's continue on with our story of Disney. Where we
Yes,
left
proceed.
off, Walt Disney created Mickey Mouse and managed to make a hit out of the character. So Walt Disney had a hit with Mickey Mouse. Was working on the Silly Symphonies, but he was still with Pat Powers at this time, and Walt still seemed to trust the guy, even though Pat Powers had a dangerous track record in Hollywood and was one not to be trusted because Pat somehow had control of him or conned him or snowed him. He could have been a snowball con artist and somehow hooked him up by offering him some big charges on distribution, royalties, and some equipment. As a matter of fact, he had a little bit of a track record during the silent era of Hollywood where he kind of made a ruckus at Universal Pictures during
Anyway.
days. Well, Walt, still persistent, was able to get some of the Cinephone sound equipment over to LA for a space they rented for the sole purpose of recording sound, even though he had never read through contracts carefully. He was much like Pinocchio, and his brother Roy, being the ever thoughtful, conscious Jiminy Cricket, had at both times succeeded and failed to rein in the cartoon producer. Now, Walt needs to get rid of Pat Powers before he could really start to make it big, and then all of a sudden get to where we are at the story with color and flowers and trees.
This is gonna be long because I'm pretty sure I want to get straight to the topic of the feature.
Well, then I do have the little segment. So obviously, well, let's just talk about how the Silver Symphonies really started, because this is a Silly Symphony. For some odd reason, the Silly Symphonies haven't started out as well as he wanted them to when he was pitching them to distributors. But after meeting a film salesman with connections to the Carthay Circle Theater, a place which will become important later in the story of Disney, he was able to screen The Skeleton Dance at that theater to such astounding success on opening night. One animator who saw it and was inspired was Joseph Barbera. You know, one half of Hanna-Barbera, the animation studio whose most famous creation is Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, let's not try to get off track here.
Well, and Ub Iwerks, who was Walt's top animator, was now suddenly inspiring future animation people. He was adding new animators and staff to produce both Mickey Mouse and Silly Symphonies. And by now, the studio had a carefully planned out operation to produce every one of these films, about 36 shorts a year, as Walt may have touted once. It was a completely different to the animation studios that were found in New York at the time, and where would color and United Artists suddenly come in. Walt at the time had some distribution deal with Columbia, and that was kind of the way he was able to get rid of Pat Powers, since I'm skipping ahead just for you, Sarah. Considering that Columbia was just one of those Poverty Row movie studios that wasn't really churning out the world's best movies. It only had one star director, Frank Capra. You know, the guy who directed It's a Wonderful Life. Teacher says every time a bell rings, an angel gets wings.
Yeah, we get it. Continue, please.
Yeah. So Columbia was on Poverty Row. So Disney didn't really get as much as he was hoping for from Columbia, since this was an offensive operation to run. So an acquaintance of Walt's named Sol Lesser introduced Walt to Joseph Schenck, who was head of United Artists at the time, a studio co-founded by Charlie Chaplin, one of Walt's heroes and a partial inspiration for Mickey's character.
Yeah, I mean, Charlie Chaplin, he's like the little tramp of the silent era.
Yeah, he also had movie merchandise, much like Mickey. And when Ube Iwerks was animating him, he kind of thought of him as like Douglas Fairbanks, who was also a silent star who also did his own stunts, much like Tom Cruise today does his own stunts. He wanted United Artists to distribute his cartoons once the Columbia contract expired, and United Artists made a deal with Disney, and now Disney distributed through United Artists. As for color, the Disney studio invented pencil tests and storyboards, and the artists were now taking figure drawing classes, as Walt desperately wanted his fantasy cartoon world to be as real as possible. He wanted to get rid of the rubber hose look, as it was known back in the old days. And Chuck Jones will later admit that a lot of the techniques that we use today in animation came directly from the Disney studio. And were innovated and invented by the Disney studio, probably to save
time. With the color innovation.
Yeah. So, well, realism, Walt thought, wouldn't be possible without color, since the real world was also color. At the time, the only color that was available was two-strip Technicolor, or a color that didn't feel lifelike or very easy on the eyes. Then in
didn't they have like a red green tones only?
Yeah. Then in 1932, Technicolor announced three-strip Technicolor dedicated to reproducing colors more faithfully to real life. Walt jumped at the chance to make a cartoon with this technology. He felt color cartoons had a longer shelf life than those of black and white. Before Disney, Walter Lanz, creator of Woody Woodpecker, had made a cartoon segment for The King of Jazz at Universal. This was like this is a movie that had a cartoon segment. This was like a musical review. It actually bombed because of the Great Depression, and Disney Studio was actually thriving during the Great Depression. We are now in the 30s, where the Great Depression is happening.
Yeah. Do you get to understand the backdrop, Julia? I mean, in those days, I mean, it'd be even hard for an animator to get a job. I mean, you had to like get some kind of, federal bonds that were being used for some studios, or they could go straight to Disney. That's what we're talking about right now, Jordan.
Disney. Okay. Well, that's definitely a big reprieve, because that may have been one of the only places that was hiring animators at that time. So Walt would pounce with three-strip Technicolor, like do Walter Land's one better. A black and white Silly Symphony short in production about two trees that fall in love would become the guinea pig for color cartoons. The cells in the ink and paint department were now painted with color, and Technicolor helped license their process to Walt because the company was having some difficulties. I mean, Technicolor, not Disney itself, but Technicolor, because they were having a hard time convincing studios to suddenly adapt Technicolor as their main technology and stuff. Not everyone was really that interested. I mean, I can get it. Those big cameras make my phone look like a baby's toy. Have you ever seen the camera that shot The Wizard of Oz? It is ginormous.
Okay, Jordan. Okay, so yeah, shall we get back to the topic here,
Yeah.
please?
The usual process of animation, pencil tests, storyboards, ink and paint, and photography were utilized, since Disney had in 4 years changed the paradigm of creating animation. He was the industry standard, and finally, after completion, Flowers and Trees, the short we watched, nice premiere at the Grauman Chinese Theater in front of MGM's Strange Interlude, which was a major release at the time. The short was an astounding success, and Grauman called it a creation of genius that marks a new milestone in cinematic development. It would go on to win Walt Disney's first Oscar, the one for animated short subject. So, yeah, pretty accolade, pretty cool. I was able to hold any kind of Oscar in my hand when I toured the Disney studio. So,
And that was the one you hold?
no, I don't know which one I hold. I don't know which one I held, but I just had the picture taken, and it's not like it was just one of those safe spots where I can have a picture taken. It was not like a top secret area.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
Never touched an Oscar, that's for sure.
yeah. Oh, so now Walt was hooked on color, and he felt he could do so much with color that other people couldn't do. Though the sudden adoption to get color cartoons in color came about rather slowly, considering the UA contract didn't specify color cartoons. He bargained with Technicolor to use their process for 13 Silly Symphony cartoons. Roy, no, not Roy, not Roy. Roy, it's Roy actually. So sorry. Roy felt Walt's ambition to do something that had not been done before would make them go broke, yet Walt just kept pushing on, even as the Disney studio thrived during years of the Great Depression. So Roy successfully procured a deal with Bank of America to help finance the studio during this time. Bank of America was kind of a lifeline to a lot of these movie people back in the early days of Hollywood, or the golden age, as we're now calling it, because this was the golden age of Hollywood, the 30s, the 40s, something like that, 50s, maybe the tail end, maybe around the mid 60s.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Wow, how does the rest of your thing go again?
Well, anything Walt wanted to do, thanks to his little Bank of America thing. Oh golly, the paper's stuck. Anything Walt wanted to do, want to make from his cartoon studio, thanks to Bank of America, he was able to make. Of course, Silly Symphonies were doing well, and the Mickey Mouse cartoons were doing well, but Walt was ever eager to diversify, which would lead to the start of Disney's costliest venture in the studio's relatively young 11-year history by 1934. So I thought this is like the first time I really saw the short, and I thought it was pretty great, and definitely has that definitely has the kind of style you expect from a 30s Disney product, when you expect, okay, you got the tension and mode, and also the kind of design of the creepy tree that would later go on into what we're going to be talking about next week, and any kind of gags that I find unique. It just gave life to the fire, and not only that, they give the fire legs. They thought the fire could hide from the water, and the birds were able to fly and punch straight through the clouds just to create a ton of water.
Yeah, so
because the
I mean, it looked like something that you might see from Cuphead in those games or so.
Cuphead, yes, exactly. It looks like that game. It looks like the 1930s cartoon, exactly what we would know. Though it is one hard game, but this was definitely a groundbreaking short, because I don't really think anyone had seen color of this kind of density in true life before at this specific point. I mean, I don't know if anyone really had another. I mean, the color back then, it was just like 2-strip Technicolor, but this time it was like 3-strip. Now it's
yeah, they were using like the kind of prints that you would see with like the additional color lighting, with like mixing the reds and blues and greens, and somehow turns it all white.
RGB values, yeah. Walt just basically had to repaint those some of the black and white cells just to give that color density. At least later on to the studio experimenting with some paint colors.
Yeah, and they were also like doing with like the gradients of the tones. I mean, no different from like the shadows. I mean, like
Tones, lighting, shadows. He was really pushing the art form in such a way we haven't really seen, and he just kept on going. Though, in my view, I can definitely see why people love this. It's I mean, I would, if I'd never seen true life color in a movie before, I would have thought it was amazing. I would have applauded. So definitely the two trees that fall in love and then somehow get hitched just because a caterpillar makes a ring.
That was cute.
Yeah, a caterpillar makes it. Yeah.
That's so Julia. What'd you think of the short?
I thought it was really cute. I thought it was fun that it was about marriage because I'm about to get married. So it was fun. And Zach and I watched it together. And yeah, so it was cute, like with the wedding music, and it was fun. It was fun to see an older one because I watched lots of new Disney stuff, but it is fun to see like the original stuff. And I was telling Zach that you guys had told me this was the first color short, which is kind of just an impressive
first true life technicolor short.
Okay, what first?
I don't even know what the first. So what's like the
realistic
color
color
short again?
I mean, there was like color in the 20s, but it wasn't really that realistic. Three strip was able to produce a much more realistic color than what you got from two strip, and that's what would go into to the Wizard of Oz. It would go into Gone with the Wind, and we'll go into our next subject. So next week, Walt Disney makes the first ever true color frame by frame lifelike animated feature in history.
Yeah, you mean like the first full length animated feature of sorts?
Yeah, because there was the Adventures of Prince Ahmed in 1926. That's
there was like even like I've heard there was like I heard there was like Argentinian cartoon.
Yeah, Argentinian.
That was far earlier than that, but nobody knows that was like because I got like lost in a studio fire. But
it's kind of miraculous that the Adventures of Prince Ahmed survives because survived the Nazi occupation, all that crazy stuff. Because I mean, it was a Great Depression, but
anyway,
but obviously Walt just had a tendency to keep on pushing forward.
Anyway, Julia, I mean, what we're trying to say is that the next time we're talking about is, what should be argued as like, the first full-length Sailor animated feature.
Exciting. Well, I can't wait to see it.
Okay, Jordan. So yeah, about this next week's topic, I heard there can be like 1,000 stories coming through this one, so you better keep this as abridged as possible, okay?
Oh, well then maybe I better work on getting this thing abridged, because if you guys want abridged, then by golly, you're gonna figure out a way to get yourself abridged, because I'll do my very best, abridged the way you guys want it. Probably because you guys have a tight schedule. So
yeah, but I do want to close that the cute simple story of flowers and trees definitely deserve to be in the Fenton's collection of Disney Plus for sure.
Definitely. I mean, it wasn't like the world's most ugly thing in the world, other than just the rascal, scoundrelly, creepy tree that kind of has a tendency to make trouble and then actually sets the forest afire. I mean,
yeah, I think it was like irony there, because I was like so widespread. I was also self-inflicted.
Oh man. Okay, 1,000 stories. I'll have to I have to work on getting this one I have to work on getting this one abridged.
Okay,
I'm excited to get my MacBook Pro and
Yeah.
Very excited.
okay, so yeah, you got like less than a week to figure this one out, huh, Jordan?
let's see
Maybe
how
you guys
I
can
figure this
tag
one out. I feel like I can pull this off. I just know that I won't exactly be giving this sort of thing away because the week ahead is obviously the first full length. Well, the next week is the first full length animated feature from Disney. So,
very exciting.
it started all.
Can't
Okay,
wait to see
bye.
it. Bye,
Yeah,
guys.
my
It
game.
started all. Yeah. Well, okay, bye.